Hey guys, Sean here. Today I'll be showing off the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Ancient Gears. This is my favorite deck in the game. I have perfected this. This is the perfect Ancient Gear build, so let's get right into it. Alright, to begin, we have triple Ancient Gear Wyvern. Here's your Stratos of the deck, searches any Ancient Gear card. Once you use this effect, you can't set cards for the rest of the turn. Usually that's not a problem, but just keep that in mind when you activate his effect. He's level 4, which also helps to go into some of your XYZs. Next up, 2 Ancient Gear Frame. You can discard a card to add either Ancient Gear Fusion or Ancient Gear Golem from your deck to your hand. He's also level 4, so it helps you going into XZs. When he's destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon Ancient Gear Golem from your hand. Hardly comes up, but in some cases it could be useful. Next up, Ancient Gear Box. When he's added from your deck to your hand, you can search an Inert Machine with 500 attack or defense. You can search Ancient Gear Frame, or you can search some of your Infinitrack cards. Next up, Ancient Gear Golem. You run the original Ancient Gear Golem because you can search him off of Ancient Gear Frame. The only reason we run him is because when he's on the field and you use your Ancient Gear Fusion, you can use fusion material from the deck, which is very important. And finally, for the Ancient Gear monsters, we have Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. You can special summon him pretty easily. When he attacks, he can pop a spell trap. This is during damage step, so it can't be interrupted. Even if you crash in with him, still applies. So it's a good mini boss monster to have in the deck. So that's it for the Ancient Gear monsters. We only run 8, but 8 is definitely all you need. Now we have some supporting cards. Double Infinitrack Anchor Drill and 1 Infinitrack Trencher. Anchor Drill can let you special summon an Inert Machine from your hand. And if Trencher's in the grave, you can banish it to special summon Anchor Drill from your graveyard. There's a really good combo here with Urgent Schedule. You can summon Anchor Drill and Trencher. You can link them off into Ballista. And then you can use Trencher and Grave, banish it to bring back out your Anchor Drill. Next up, double Heavy Freight Train Derricrane. It's just a free extender. When you summon an Inert Machine, you can special summon it from your hand. It can be used for chain blocking with Wyvern. It's also free link material for your Ballista. We don't run any Train XZs, but if you do, it's also a good option. So yeah, we run 2 of them. Next up, Therion King Regulus. A great addition to this deck. You can search it with your Therion Discolosseum. Or we also run the Spriggan's Sargus combo, so you can go into him that way. There's a fantastic Omni Negate. You can also use him as an extender if you have a Inert Machine engrave, so definitely a good one-of in the deck. Finally, for the monsters we have triple Ash. This can be whatever you want for the meta, but I think Ash is a pretty good universal hand trap. So onto the spells now, we have triple Ancient Gear Catapult. If you control no monsters, you can target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and then special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. This is the main way you get out your Ancient Gear Golem. Also, when it's in the grave, you can basically use this effect again, destroy a card you control, and then you can summon an Ancient Gear token. It's a really good combo with Ancient Gear Catapult and Geartown, which is basically an OTK combo. Speaking of triple Geartown, you can definitely run 2 if you want. 3 is just pretty good. We also run Terraforming, so basically 4 copies of Geartown. When it's destroyed, you special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or grave. It can miss timing because it's an old card, but you have to run it. This and Catapult is full combo. Next up, 1 Ancient Gear Fortress. Definitely bump this up to 2 if you have it, but I wouldn't run more than 2. The turn they're summoned, your Ancient Gear monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and your opponent cannot respond to the activation of Ancient Gear cards or effects. So it's a fantastic card to have. It's a bit weird because you can only really search it with your Wyvern, and you've already used Wyvern's effect, so if they're going to negate you, they wouldn't negate you there. But if you have this in your opening hand, it's a fantastic card. Also a target for your Catapult if you need it. When it's destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear from your hand or grave, but then it locks you into Ancient Gear. So most of the time you won't activate the second effect. If this is in your starting hand, you have a very good chance of winning the duel. Next up, double Ancient Gear Fusion. I wouldn't run more than 2. Ancient Gear Fusion fuses into any Ancient Gear monster. If you control Ancient Gear Golem, you can fusion someone from the deck. You can search this off your Wyvern or your Ancient Gear Frame. Next up, for the best card in the deck, triple Urgent Schedule. You can special summon 2 monsters, a level 4 or lower, and a level 5 or higher Inert Machine from your deck. Their effects are negated, but you can link them off into a free Ballista. You can also set up your graveyard for Overload Fusion plays, or your Infinitrack combo with your Trencher and Anchor Drill. Fantastic card. It's full combo basically on its own. Definitely running out 3. We have 1 Therion Discolosseum to search your Therion King Regulus. It's also a target for your Catapult and for your Ancient Gear Ballista if you need to lower the attack of your opponent's monsters. Now, triple Clockwork Night. So obviously it's a continuous spell, so it's a target for your Catapult. Also, it's discard fodder for any of your cards like Ancient Gear Frame. All monsters on the field turn to machines. Your machines gain 500 and your opponents lose 500, so it helps for OTKing. If it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and discard a card, and then you can add any Earth machine from your deck to your hand. Fantastic, searches anything, search a Regulus, search any Ancient Gear monster you're missing. You can search Box, and then Box can search another card. Definitely run at 3, it's some great new support for Ancient Gears. Next up, Overload Fusion. Your main boss monster of the deck, Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, is a Dark, so you can go into it using Overload Fusion. One of is pretty good. Next up, for some interesting stuff, double Super Poly. So the main way you're going to win with this deck is to break your opponent's board. This deck is not a going first deck, I should have clarified that earlier. But Super Poly is a great card. We run Super Poly targets. It can also help you swing for a game in the battle phase. It also discards a card, so I can help you with your Catapult. It can send Clockwork Night to the grave. Just a great card to have at 2 in the deck. Next up, Heavy Forward. It searches any Infinitrack card. We run one of this, so you can probably run 1 Anchor Drill, 1 Trencher, and 1 of this. But I like the 2 Anchor Drill just for insurance. And since it's a continuous spell, you can also use Catapult to destroy it. Next up, for some generic staples, Harpies, Called By, Terraforming. Harpies obviously for back row. Called By for ensuring your combo goes off. And Terraforming to search either your Geartown or your Therion Discolosseum. Finally, for the traps here, triple Imperm, just pretty generic, good card to have. That's it for the main deck. Onto the extra deck now. We have triple Ancient Gear Ballista. Needs 2 Earth machines. When a special summon, you can add a Geartown or an Ancient Gear monster from deck to hand. So this can search your Ancient Gear box, which can search you another Ancient Gear card. It also has the effect where you can target a face-up spell, trap you control, and an opponent's monster. You destroy the spell and trap, and then you turn your opponent's monster to 0 attack and defense. Really helps you get your OTKs, and you can also pop your own Geartown to get the special summon from that. Great for your combos, definitely run out of 3. Next up, for the best boss monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! Double Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. He needs 4 Ancient Gear monsters as fusion material. He's unaffected by spell and trap cards. During the battle phase, your opponent cannot activate monster effects, and he can attack all monsters your opponent controls, and he does piercing. So he's the best card in the deck. He can be tricky to get out, but once you have him out and you go to battle phase, it's game over. Also, when you summon him, you have material engraved for your Overload Fusion, so you can go into 2 of them, and then just doubly win from there. We have 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, kind of an alternate win condition. Only needs 3 Ancient Gear monsters, but that includes your Ancient Gear Golem. This in combination with Dugaris is a 8,800 attack monster. Does piercing. If you use Ballista previously to lower one of your opponent's monsters to 0 attack and defense, you can just OTK from here. If it's destroyed by your opponent's card effects, you can special summon an Ancient Gear Golem from your graveyard, which recycles the copy that you used to go into him. Next up, Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. Just requires 3 Ancient Gear monsters. He's definitely the worst Ancient Gear fusion monster, but he can come up in certain situations. If he leaves the field by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck, which is pretty cool because if your opponent doesn't read that, you just get a free Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Finally, for the real best card in the deck, Ancient Gear Howitzer. He's a mini towers, he's unaffected by card effects. During the main phase, you can burn your opponent for 1,000. So he helps you get into OTKs. He also has another effect where if he's destroyed by battle, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or grave, ignoring summoning conditions. So he's a really good guy to go into. You can also use him as an extender because he's an Earth machine. He only needs 2 Ancient Gear monsters to go into him. So he's a pretty good card to have in the deck at 1. For the Super Poly targets, we have Starving Venom Fusion and Garua. So Starving Venom Fusion is a good one because dark decks are very common, and he's very good for helping get OTKs. And Garua is just very generic, very easy to go into him. You can link him off and then get a free draw from there. Next up, for some XZs, we have Spriggan's Merrymaker and Gigantic Champion Sargus. So this little combo here, this just needs 2 level 4s. So you go into Merrymaker, overlay into Gigantic Sargus. Sargus can add a Therion card from your deck to your hand, so you can search your Discolosseum, activate Discolosseum, search your Regulus, and that's already 5,600 damage on board, not involving your Ancient Gear cards. So awesome to have, gets you a free negate, and it's also material for Zeus. For the last 2 XZs, we have Dugaris, generic level 4. He can double the attack of one of your monsters, which can help you OTK. And then Zeus, because Zeus is fantastic. If you don't kill your opponent, going into this can help you clean up. And finally, Accesscode Talker. He can pop cards in the field that you can't get rid of otherwise. You can get him up to 4300 attack, which is on par with your big Ancient Gear fusion monsters. And it's just a great card to link climb into if you can. So that's it for the Ancient Gear deck profile. Overall, this deck is fantastic going second. That's the main way you play it, just blind go second, beat into your opponent, go full force, and just win from there. This deck has a lot of different combo routes you can go down. I'm working on a comprehensive combo guide for Ancient Gears, so like and subscribe and you'll see that soon. If you have any suggestions or ideas, let me know. I'm always ready to make some crazy new stuff for Ancient Gears. So like and subscribe, comment below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Ancient Gear content.